It's Black History Month, and here at Top 10 Nerd, we want to honor some of our favorite black superheroes from Marvel with this list as we count down the top 10 black members of the Avengers. Join me, and let's jump into it. Number 10. Blue Marvel. While Blue Marvel was not part of the main Avengers team, he was a member of Luke Cage's Mighty Avengers, which gets assembled in the second volume of Mighty Avengers, which began its series run in 2013. The Mighty Avengers is an important team in Marvel history, and were extremely important as they were made up of Earth's mightiest heroes on Earth, while the main Avengers, also made up of some of Earth's mightiest heroes, were off-world at the time during the Infinity event. At least that's what this team of Mighty Avengers was about. There was a previous Mighty Avengers team, but we're talking about Volume 2, baby! Blue Marvel himself is one of the most powerful heroes around when it comes to the Marvel Universe. He is Adam Brashear, whose powers are based in antimatter energy, making him a tough hero to beat and putting him in league with some of Marvel's greatest and most powerful titans. Not only that, but Adam Brashear is also a genius who is invulnerable and almost immortal, with his aging greatly slowed by his powers, meaning he is much older than he looks. Blue Marvel was also a member of the retcon first Mighty Avengers team, which existed in the 1970s, as we learned in their first appearance in issue number 12 of the 2013 Mighty Avengers. Like I said, they existed in the past, but we introduced them in the future, because in the past they didn't actually exist. That's okay. They should have existed. Mighty Avengers is awesome. And friends, if you are loving this list as much as I am loving presenting it to you, and you want more Black History Month lists, which I would love to do for you, to be honest, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 9. Spider-Man. Miles actually got to join the Avengers shortly after making his way to Earth 616, following the rebuilding of the universe after Secret Wars. He and his family, including his formerly dead uncle Aaron Davis, aka Prowler, were given a new start on the 616 Earth after Miles showed kindness to Molecule Man by giving him a cheeseburger he was carrying around in his suit, when Molecule Man was hungry back on God Emperor Doom's Battleworld. Miles Morales is also known as Spider-Man and was invited to join the all-new, all-different Avengers, although in the comics they were really just known as the Avengers. From there, he ended up splintering off with a few of his Avengers teammates and making their own superhero group known as the Champions, which was pretty much made up of young heroes. The Champions was made up of Miles Morales' Spider-Man, Kamala Khan's Ms. Marvel, and Sam Alexander's Nova. At least to start. There have been more champions since then. Number 8. Dr. Voodoo. Dr. Voodoo, formerly known as Brother Voodoo, is Jericho Drumm. He became Sorcerer Supreme after Dr. Stephen Strange was deemed unworthy and lost the title. Similar, but different in regards to how Strange lost the title in the MCU, with Wong becoming the new Sorcerer Supreme instead. Dr. Voodoo currently is affiliated with Strange Academy and Midnight Suns, but has also been affiliated with actually a ton of Avengers teams in his recent past. He's been a part of the main Avengers team, joining them in New Avengers and Uncanny Avengers when he was part of the Unity Division Squad, and he's also been on the Mighty Avengers team as well. Dr. Voodoo is an exceptionally gifted magic user who has a slew of powers due to his mystical training and origins. Honestly, we don't hype him up enough on this channel, so I'm happy to have given him a moment in the spotlight on this list. He deserves it. Dr. Voodoo is awesome. We should do a Dr. Voodoo list. That's what I think. Number 7. Blade. Blade is a super important hero who made his first appearance in Tomb of Dracula issue number 10 back in 1973. This is back when Marvel was into monster and horror comics, by the way. A fun time in their history. A lot of people seem to forget that Blade is actually a Marvel superhero due to his more supernatural and spooky origins, and also considering just how mature and somewhat violent his stories and overall character can be portrayed. Blade is Eric Brooks, part vampire, part human, a hybrid known as Dampier. He is a vampire hunter who seeks to get revenge for the death of his mother, as well as for being turned into a Dampier, which also happened as a result of his mother's death. Blade is currently a member of the Avengers and is pretty much the hero who proved that superhero movies could be a profitable thing. The first Blade film was released in 1994 and paved the way for following successful films such as Spawn and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man franchise. Blade also simultaneously created the possibility for future superhero film franchises, as the 1994 film also got 2 sequels, becoming one of the first superhero cinematic franchises. Number 6. Storm. Storm might be more well known for her affiliation with the X-Men, but like her fellow mutants and fellow X-Men team members Wolverine and Rogue, she has also at times been called on to serve on other teams such as the Avengers. She ended up joining Brian Michael Bendis' Avengers in issue number 19 of the 2010 series. Storm is recruited by Captain America at the recommendation of Black Panther. You see, Steve wanted to recruit T'Challa, but Black Panther basically said he was too preoccupied and he wasn't really in a good place to be on the active Avengers team currently. While Steve insisted that they needed more friendly faces on the team, Black Panther offered that what he really needed was more firepower. And for that reason, Black Panther suggested his wife at the time, Storm, should be considered. Storm was called upon and offered membership by Cap and ultimately decided to accept, although she believed she was recommended in part so that Black Panther could keep her close to him in New York, where he was currently operating himself, helping to fill in for Daredevil, and of course where Avengers Mansion is located. It's good to keep your partner close to you though, so I respect it. Also, he was right, Storm is definitely firepower, so good recommendation, I think. Number 5. War Machine. War Machine is known for being a close friend of Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. He's been on the Avengers as well as a slew of other teams including the Secret Avengers, twice in fact, and the West Coast Avengers. James Rhodes, aka Rhodey, also has taken up the mantle of Iron Man before, filling in for Tony when he was struggling with his alcoholism. James took up the mantle of Iron Man in issue 170 of the original Iron Man series back in the 80s. In fact, Rhodey only stopped being Iron Man really because Tony was kind of forced to come back. Rhodey, you see, suffered from severe migraines after donning the suit, which also translated to him becoming paranoid, frantic, and at times reckless. He also ended up having a traumatic experience inside the Iron Man suit and almost died. But despite this, years later when called upon after Tony appeared to have died, Rhodey ultimately agreed to carry on the Iron Man legacy for his friend, as Stark had wished him to do, once more donning an Iron Man suit known as the War Machine armor. He was furious when he learned though that Tony wasn't actually dead, decided to cut ties with him, at least for that time, but keeping the armor, and ended up becoming the hero known as War Machine. Number 4. Falcon. Formerly known as Captain America, and I think now soon to be known or currently known again as Captain America, is Sam Wilson, who is also known by the mantle of Falcon. Falcon is a good friend of Captain America, Steve Rogers, and has worked with him throughout the years. Not only has he been a member of the Avengers, but he also took over Rogers' place as Captain America during his time with the all-new, all-different Avengers team. Wilson in the MCU was also given the mantle of Captain America, and after trying to resist taking up that mantle, ultimately ended up embracing it in the Disney Plus streaming series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I can't wait to see him in his own movie as Captain America. It's gonna be so awesome. Number 3. Spectrum. Monica Rambeau is probably one of the most powerful superheroes to have ever been on the Avengers team. She also for a short time actually led the team herself, and she was actually the first woman to take up the Captain Marvel mantle. While many now associate the mantle with Monica's friend and colleague Carol Danvers, formerly known as Miss Marvel, Monica was actually the first to take up the name after the original Captain Marvel, Kree hero Mar-Vell. Unfortunately, Monica was manipulated into giving up her leadership of the Avengers shortly after being given that role, and she was also later encouraged to give up the Captain Marvel mantle by Mar-Vell's genetic offspring, Janice Vell, who formerly went by the name Legacy. In other words, Monica Rambeau has been I feel like sidelined a lot. She doesn't deserve that. She's so powerful. While Monica has had a ton of codenames over the years, when it comes to her superhero name, Spectrum has seemed to stick relatively well and pretty much sums up her powers as well, which allows her to change into, channel, and utilize various different energy types across the spectrum, making her a hard hero to defeat. Number 2. Luke Cage. Luke Cage is known for being one of the first black superheroes over at Marvel Comics, although he was not the first. He is often affiliated with Heroes for Hire, the Defenders, and the Avengers. Luke Cage was originally known simply by his name, Luke Cage, when he first appeared in Heroes for Hire issue number 1 in 1972, although we've also known him as Power Man before. And his original legal name was actually Carl Lucas. He had it changed. He got his powers after being experimented on in Seagate Prison. These powers hardened his skin to the point that it was basically impenetrable, making Luke super durable. While Luke had a history of causing trouble in his youth, he was not actually guilty of the crimes that he was convicted with during his time in prison. He was set up. He was framed by his former friend and criminal Willis Stryker, despite currently attempting to live on the straight and narrow. Luke would go on to join the Avengers team during the original New Avengers series, offered membership by Captain America. He would also go on to lead his own team of Mighty Avengers during the Infinity event, and like I said, you can check that out in Volume 2 of Mighty Avengers. Number 1. Black Panther. Black Panther is a really important black superhero who is a member of the Avengers. Currently, he's actually the leader of the Avengers team. He also was the first black superhero at Marvel Comics, appearing in Fantastic Four issue number 52 in 1966 and joining the Avengers team a few years later in 1968. Black Panther has not just become an icon in the comic book community, but has also become a symbol the world over, becoming a global icon overnight with the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe film Black Panther, where he was played by the late and great Chadwick Boseman, taken from us much too soon. T'Challa is not just an amazingly powerful hero because of his tech, his skill set, his wealth, and his resources, but also because of his brilliant mind, being one of the biggest brains of the Marvel Universe. In fact, he was originally offered a spot on the secret big brain Marvel team, the Illuminati, because of his great mind, but he turned down the offer of membership because he disagreed with the ideologies of that team. Although later he would join the Illuminati, but initially he was like, nah, not joining this, you guys are crazy. Don't worry, later he was like, alright, I'm kinda allied with you now, we're in sync, now I'll join. Who is your favorite member of the Avengers from this list? Who haven't we mentioned that you would count in your top 10? Which Avengers team is your favorite? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Any Mighty Avengers fans? This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay nerdy, YouTube.